What's up, ladies and gentlemen? What's up? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, February the 15th, 2022. This year is almost out of here, guys, right? This year is almost gone already. Already. So, let's hop right into this well-known Black History fact for today. But first, we got to do it. The family's here. All right, Stephen Day. Thank you. Jenny, always a pleasure. All right. Anye, thank you. Hey, how are you? Car, salute to you. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you. Thank you. So let's hop right into it real quick. So today, here we go again. So these Black History facts, guys. I know we don't talk about the popular ones. I know we don't talk about Talk with Tori. How are you? I know we don't talk about the popular things that we all know that's repetition, right? I know we don't talk about the repetition Black history, but we're really deep diving into Black history that's unknown, and I definitely want to hop into one today. There's this Black city, um, and it's an American horror story filled with terror, death, genocide, and Black ghost. Thank you, Cole Swan. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Talk with Tori. Appreciate it, Cole Swan. Thank you guys for being here. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. All right. So, and also thank you guys for helping me get to 600. That was amazing. Share this with your friends. Share this with your loved ones. We can get to 1,000. Just imagine if 40 of you with 10 friends subscribed. We'd be there, right? So, but again, I want to talk about Lake Lanier. K Soul, thank you for being here. Anye, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can't get off of family. Family is family. Thank you guys for being here. K Soul, thank you, Anye, for being here. Thank you for the congrats. I appreciate it. We got to keep moving forward and getting better and better as we move forward. So, let's talk about it. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen with you guys so we can get right into it. Here we go. Thank you, Talk with Tori. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. All right, guys. Now, for you guys that didn't know, we're going to get into it, right? Because this is on News One, so a very credited site for an African American site as well. Not owned by us, but they represent us in such a way. We'll talk about that another day. But anyway, so let's get right into it. Let's start at the top. The Haunting of Lake Lanier and the Black City Buried Underneath, an American horror story filled with terror, death, genocide, and Black ghost. Right? So let's hop right into it. There's a city buried under Lake Lanier, Georgia's biggest lake, and submerged with it is a secret, an American horror story filled with terror, death, genocide, and ghost. If you spend any time or around Atlanta, you've heard tales of Lake Lanier. There are the eerie accounts of fishermen seeing ghostly kayaks floating on the water, or women with no hands roaming the Jerry D. Jackson Bridge. Ever so often, someone loses their life at the lake and leaves behind stories of good swimmers being snatched underwater, unexplainable boating accidents, or vehicles crashing into the lake without cause. Guys, we're getting somewhere here, right? Let me pause for a second. Partly cloudy 420. Thank you for being here. So let's go ahead and continue. Many folks who live close by will tell you straight up, don't go to Lake Lanier, and its death toll certainly validates their point. There have been well over 500 deaths since the lake's inception, and more than 200 since 1994. Whether the lake is cursed or not, it is entirely up to you. But one thing's for certain, its horrifying past adds much needed perspective to understanding its haunting presence. Here we go now. We're about to deep dive. Right? Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. OG Patrice is in the building. Thank you, OG, for being here. Thank you, Jenny. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So let's hop back in. Lake Lanier is a massive 57.92 square mile reservoir that was established in 1956 with the completion of the Beaufort Dam. To this day, it helps control flooding amongst the Chattahoochee River, as well as to provide water and power to residents near Atlanta. However, to get a clear picture of how and why this behemoth of a lake exists, we'll need to go back 45 years before its creation to 1912 in the small African American town of, write this down, guys, get ready, write this down, okay? The small African American town of Oscarville. Oscarville, right? Settled along the Chattahoochee waters, Oscarville was home to roughly 1,100 Black folks, most of whom were freed after fighting in the American Civil War. Many worked as hands in the cotton fields or performed odd jobs for white residents in the surrounding neighborhoods. They managed to make a decent living for themselves, creating a healthy community with churches, schools, and small businesses. Still on edge from the Atlanta race riots of 1906, many locals feared more violence would erupt at any time. Black American socialist, author W.E.B. Du Bois, everybody knows who that is, very famous in the community, penned an emotional essay called A Litany of Atlanta, which was printed in local newspapers and captured the shared pain, fear, terror that Black people felt in the South during that time. Forgive us, good Lord. We know not what we say, right? This is what he wrote. Bewildered we are and passion tossed, mad with the madness of mobbed and mocked and murdered people. Strained at the arm post by thy throne, we raise our shackled hands and charge thee. God, by the bones of our stolen fathers, by the tears of our dead mothers, by the very blood that they sacrificed to Christ. What meaneth this? Tell us the plan, give us the sign. Right? Now, this is where we get deep. We're going to take another deep dive into what actually happened. On September the 5th, 1912, a 22-year-old white woman named Ellen Grice claimed two Black men tried to sexually assault her. Can't say the word. But were unsuccessful because they were scarred. They were scared away by her mother. Guys, listen, I know this is kind of blurry for you guys. Let me get myself up here. Let me get myself up here so you can see my face. They two Black big old men were scared away by her little mother when they were trying to. Okay, let's continue. All right. The Forsyth County sheriff arrested 5 Black men. 5. All right, let's continue. All right, let's get back to it. Where is it at? Where did I stop? Here we go. The sheriff arrested 5 Black men for the alleged assault. Okay. News of the attack and arrest caused quite a stir in the surrounding Black communities. A vocal Black preacher named Grant Smith appealed to the sheriff to release the men. He claimed there wasn't much evidence to hold all 5 men accountable for the assault, and also suggested that one of the men could have already been in a consensual relationship with Grice. See? So what happened was, we all know where this is going. They were in a relationship together. If you're just getting in right now, thank you for being here and being a part of the Black Men Unfiltered family. If you have not become a part of the Black Men Unfiltered family, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. It's 14 watching. We need 14 likes. Thank you so much. Let's continue. So they said one of the guys that was being accused was in a consensual relationship with this young white lady. Many whites were outraged by Smith's allegations, and an angry mob beat and horsewhipped the preacher on the steps of the courthouse, almost taking his life. A week later, on September the 12th, 1912, an 18-year-old white woman named May Crow was sexually assaulted and beaten in the Big Creek community of Forsyth County, Georgia. The next morning, Crow's body was found half naked, bloody, and hidden under a pile of leaves. Her skull had been bludgeoned with a stone, but she was alive and barely breathing. Searchers would allegedly find a small pocket mirror at the scene of the crime and said it belonged to Ernest Knox, a 16-year-old black boy from Cumming, Georgia. A little 16-year-old black boy walking around with a pocket mirror. I mean, a pocket mirror. Is that what it said? Yeah, a pocket mirror. How many of you know in 1912, a little black boy, even today in 2022, how many of you know a little black boy that would walk around with a mirror in his pocket? I'll wait. Okay, me either. Right. So Knox was, let's see, a 16-year-old boy from Cumming, Georgia. Knox was arrested at his home, then subjected to a mock lynching, which led to his sorcered confession for the attack on Crow. Watch this. Watch this. I mean, coerced. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell going on with me today. Which led to a coerced confession for the attack on Crow. As word spread of the attack on Crow and the confession by Knox, whites became increasingly angry. It wasn't before long before a lynch mob formed in the front of the jailhouse where Knox was being detained. Officers had to sneak Knox out of the back door late that evening just to keep him from being hanged. He was taken to jail in Atlanta for his protection, but would soon stand trial for the attack. The next day, 4 additional men, Oscar Daniel, Robert Edwards, Jane Daniel, and Ed Collin, were arrested and taken into custody, suspected to be accomplices to the 16-year-old. All of them black. Soon another angry mob of more than 2,000 whites had stormed the county jail, gaining access to the cells. Wait a minute. This reminds me, a whole bunch of white people getting together, running into a courthouse. I'm feeling something like this has happened before, just recently. What was that? Do you guys remember? Oh, January the 6th. You remember when he ran into the Capitol building? Of course. So soon after, angry mob of more than 2,000 whites had stormed the jail, gaining access to the cells. They shot and killed Rob Edwards, dragged his body from the jailhouse, and hung him from a telephone pole in the Times Square. My God. Ernest Knox and Oscar Daniel were both found guilty of the sexual assault on May Crow. They were sentenced to death by hanging. Even though it was illegal by state law at the time, 8,000 whites congregated in the town square of Cumming to watch the 2 teenage boys publicly hanged for an alleged crime that they never truly had the opportunity to fight. It was after this hanging that the terror would begin to spread as a white group of terrorists known as the Night Riders. Come on. The Night Riders, guys, they came up. Would make it their mission to run every black person that came across out of their town. Here we go. Oscarville would end up being one of their main targets. And over the short period of just a few years, 98% of its black residents would end up either leaving their homes or being deleted for refusal to move. Black property deeds found their way into the hands of white neighbors without any bill of sale or transfer. They were stealing the land. But we as black people, we have to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We don't deserve reparations. We don't deserve for free labor. We don't deserve anything, right? We need to figure it out, right? We need to figure it out, pull ourselves up. But we had small towns that were thriving. Let's continue. Black property deeds were found. Black property deeds found their ways into the hands of the whites, right? There were no bill of sale. There was no transfer of sale, nothing. This effectively allowed many whites to steal the land once owned by their black counterparts. And they were all driven out by the Night Riders. Try it today. More than 1,100 blacks would lose their livelihood in a little time. The once functioning African-American town of Oscarville would be a ghost town. Either you got ran out for free, they took your land, your deeds, or they deleted you. Either way, they wanted you out of a little small black town of 1,100 people. Right? Over time, pieces of the land would be sold to the government, And by 1950, a plan to build Lake Lanier was in full effect. Soon, the entire town of Oscarville would be underwater, intentionally flooding and in junction with the Beaufort Dam to support the growing demand for a water supply for the nearby cities. The resulting reservoir was named after Sidney Lanier, a poet and musician who was also a Confederate private. Singing and dancing racist. In the end, construction would destroy more than 50,000 acres. Watch this. We don't have nothing, guys. We listen, black people don't have nothing, right? Black culture is trash. We don't have nothing. We don't deserve nothing. We don't need nothing. Nothing. Get over it. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. Get over it. Have you ever been a slave? If you haven't, what so what? We don't care about you suffering from PTSD. We don't care about none of that from your grandparents. But I'm reading here, how much generational wealth would we have if we could have kept this 50,000 acres of farmland? Tell me in the chat. I'll read it later. And displaced more than 250 black families. It would also relocate 20 cemeteries and their corpses. They dug the black people up out their graves. This is how horrible this is, guys. They dug them up. We don't even want these niggas here in the graves. We want them gone. So we're going to dig them up too and get their bodies and toss them, put them somewhere else. We don't care if their families know where they're buried. And some may see as an attempt to erase the sins of its past. Right? They tried to erase the sins of their past by digging up the dead and moving them because they knew that they went in and deleted all these people for nothing. Okay. That's it. I don't even want to read the other story because they're talking about something that has nothing to do with the story. So guys, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. If you're sitting at home right now and you've been sitting here, tell me what you think. Hmm? Because my thing is this. We had Central Park taken from a black community. It seems like all the situations are universal. Central Park taken, everybody kicked out or deleted, and then they turned it into now Central Park, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. I had a list the other day of all these different towns. And this is where we are. Guys, I just read to you something. If you're just coming in, thank you for being here. Hit the like and also hit the subscribe button, please, to encourage the channel and help the channel to continue to grow. Guys, this is serious. There were 1,500 black people in this town of Oscarville. 1,500, give or take. 50,000 acres of farmland. Imagine this. Farmed by black people, owned by black people. They came in, they got a group together, and they stopped all of it. Nobody could come into the town, nobody could leave it. If you didn't leave everything you had, everything you worked with, everything you worked for, they would delete you on the spot. And they would go through your house and find your deeds. But you guys want to know the creepy thing about this? If you're a diver and you want to go to Georgia, if you're a diver, I want you to go to Georgia. I want you to get in Lake Lanier and make sure you take somebody with you that's a licensed diver. And I want you to go down there, and there are still remnants of this town underwater. Still structures, metal pieces. old churning devices, steel stoves at the bottom of the lake. Why can't we go just get that and just put it in a museum to have a reminder of what we had and where we were and what we were about? This is sad. 50,000 acres of farmland. Let me say, I can't get over that. All because a white lady said, he touched me. This goes back to Rosewood, Florida, where there was a white lady also said, this is like universal. This is like the universal lie. He sexually assaulted me. And to hear that, I think that was the trigger for all cowardice white men to get together and to bear arms and go out and just hunt down black people like they were nothing. Even just say for the sake of argument that the man really did it. What does all these little babies and look, uh, I can barely get through this, guys. What about the little children that were 8 months old? They found bones of 8-month-old babies, 10-month-old babies, infants, right? They found them in mass graves in Rosewood, Florida. They found mass graves in New York. What about them? What did they have to do with it? What about the graves they're in Oklahoma, Black Wall Street? What did the babies have to do with it? What did the 9-year-olds have to do with it? Why were they dragging 9-year-olds down the street? Why were they deleting children and women? Because we were targets and we didn't know how to fight back. We weren't told that we could fight back. We weren't told that we can stand for something. We were told to be quiet and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride of being deleted. Enjoy the ride of being destroyed. Enjoy the ride of being uh, stepped on and oppressed. So what I'm tired of is hearing. We'll move on in a second. I'm gonna shorten the news today because I got to do this. And we have to stop, guys. As a culture, we have to stop fighting each other when it comes. Now, I'm not going to say stop with the holding people accountable. We have to continue to have shows and have the conversation about what's going on in our community. But don't talk about our community and say our community is not deserving of something, right? We're our community. We say our community to pull ourselves up out of the bootstrap, right? Martin Luther King, guys. Martin Luther King had a dream, but before Martin Luther King was deleted, Martin Luther King did another speech that got him deleted, where he said, "I've lived long enough to see my dream become a nightmare. All the things that we're asking for, I didn't know they existed already." And there are other communities of people that are being subsidized and getting subsidized land and loans and agriculture. And there are a certain amount of people that are getting it that are not of black descent, but they're of white culture. And they're getting the money, they're getting the land, they're getting the loans, the bank is loaning out. And the last thing that Martin Luther King said is, when we come and march on Washington, we're coming to get our check. And soon after that, Martin Luther King was deleted because they said as long as Martin Luther King had a dream, they can control the narrative. But when Martin Luther King said, "My dream became a nightmare, and now my reality is to live in the reality," they deleted him because they knew, damn, he's no longer in a dream. Damn, he's no longer living in a fantasy world. And now he's living in the real world, and we have to get rid of him. If you hadn't seen the documentary, guys, I want to encourage you. Go to Hulu. Hulu has a documentary called MLK versus the FBI. And I want you to watch it. I want you to watch. They dig up a whole bunch of stuff about Martin Luther King and other women and all this other stuff. That they had a plan. This is documentation. This is documented that they tried to break up his marriage. They tried to break up his children. They tried to turn his family against him. They tried to turn the church against him. They tried to turn blacks against him. They said that they at one point they said that Martin Luther King was the most wanted man in America because he had thoughts of being the T word, errorist, an errorist. You add the first letter. They looked at him as an errorist because they knew that he was no longer dreaming, but he was living in reality. And soon after, when they couldn't get Coretta to leave him, soon after, they couldn't get his children to turn against him, soon after, they couldn't get the church to turn on him, soon after, they couldn't get anything to anybody or anyone to turn on him. They said, well, if we can't turn the community against him, his own wife against him, we have to take matters into our own hands. So let's set this thing up. And he was deleted. Can you imagine living in a town, no white faces? So you're not over in their city bothering them. You got your own stores, you got your own land, you got your own acres of land. You're thriving, your children, you have schools, you have a church. So you're all worshiping together, you're all striving together, you're all planning your own food together. You got your own water coming in there. Everything was good for you. And a one lady says someone sexually assaulted me and they cut the town off from our resources. They ran everybody that wanted to come in to continue to make all the food places, all the nurturing, everything that they needed to bring for the general stores were cut off. They turned the people around. This group of men turned them around. You can't bring in sugar. You can't bring in candy for the kids. You can't bring in anything. And then they went into the town and said, listen, give us your deeds or you'll be deleted. They gave them the deeds and they still deleted them. And then the government came in. Oh, our wonderful and beautiful government that you guys want us to trust so much. They came in and said, thank you. And they flooded it and they buried the entire town. They didn't tear down one house. They put the water on top of it as a slap in the face. But before they did it, they dug up the graves and took all the people, the babies, the children, everybody that they had deleted, that group of men, and they moved the bodies. Nobody knows where those bodies are. They just moved them to another location just to cover up their sins. I see you guys in the comments. And I know a lot of people say, I don't believe in ghosts and I don't believe in all these different stuff like that. And you have an option to believe that. But ever since this has happened, 200 people a year are getting snatched under that water. And if you continue to read on this, guys, if you go Google this, some of the bodies were never dug up. Some of the mass graves were never dug up. Those people were terrorized, buried, and left there in agony. And their spirits were right under that water. 200 people a year die in that lake, saying that they're being pulled down to the bottom, saying that there are things that happen there at night they can't explain. They've seen men walking around with chains on. They've seen women walking around with their hands, there are no hands. They're walking around the lake at night, looking confused and bothered. I haven't seen this thing. I don't even see videos of it or anything like that. I didn't even look into it. But is it possible? Guys. Black people have been so peaceful. We've been so forgiving. We've been so loving and caring. It's amazing to me that I'm getting to the news. I'm shortening the news a little bit more every time I talk, but can you imagine, guys, getting pregnant as a woman and you're married and you're living under this oppressive regime of men who wanted so much power. And then all of a sudden, when they find out you've had a baby, they come, they take your child, they take your husband, everything that you hold dear, and they put them on the auction block and they sell them. How many women have suffered in the past? How many black women have suffered being in the kitchen of the oppressor, cooking him the good down home food, cooking food for a man that has just sold their 6-month-old child, that has sold their husband. Can you imagine emotional trauma? And vice versa. Can you imagine a man, strong, be in the field all day. Can you imagine an overseer or an owner, slave owner, coming into the room at night and letting the other men hold you down and make you watch them sexually assault your wife or your 7-year-old daughter or your 10-year-old daughter? This is Black history. This is the history that's uncomfortable that we don't talk about. On yesterday, I had a call with my brother, Sir Hale. And I said, Sir Hale, man, do you think I'm getting a little too deep with this Black history? He said, no, man, do it the way that it needs to be done. He said, a lot of people are uncomfortable doing this type of news, doing this type of educating, but you're made for this. And so, absolutely. Guys, it's 20 of you watching. It should be 20 likes. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, and share this content. There's going to be more great content coming out. I thank you guys so much for being here. Guys, there's so much that we haven't learned. There's so much that we have to attest for. So much, right? So much. Guys, I really want you guys to know this. And I may do this tomorrow. There was this area, and they were about to start building $200,000 to $300,000 homes on it, and beautiful homes. And so this Black man, his daughter, was purchasing one of the homes. The father worked for the construction company that got the bid that started digging up and leveling the land. Before they introduced this to the news or said anything, the father came and got his daughter and said, listen, you need to find another place to live. She said, why, Dad? He said, I want to show you something. Please, please come out with me Sunday, because Monday, this won't be here. She rode out with her dad to the site, right? It's in this rural area where nothing out there but trees, right? They're developing it. She gets out, he gets out, he walks over and said, look at this. How they got it taped off, but look. And that land and the plots from all the way around for acres, there were bodies, bones of slaves, bones of hands that are still in chains. The bones are still within the chains. The chains have rusted. Mass graves of children, women, and men for acres. It was basically a dumping site for Black bodies. And they found the bodies all over, hundreds of bodies, still wrapped in chains. Some of their bones are still, some of the bones were positioned where the hands were behind their back and their heads were rested, because you could tell they threw them in head first and just covered them over. But we, as Black people, we need to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We need to pull ourselves in by our bootstraps. We need to pull ourselves up, right? Because slavery is over, but we're seeing remnants of it every day when we're digging up for houses and we're digging up water lines and we're finding baby bones. We're finding human bones that are 100 years old, 200 years old. We're finding journals written by white men that says that women they're almost paranormal in substance, because their pain level is so they can bear so much pain. There's a statue of a doctor right now that's in New York, in Central Park, in the very park that they took from Black people. They have a statue of him up, and I'm gonna do something on him too, where he used to manipulate women and go in and carve women up, and women would sit there and take that pain, and he would write in his journal. Guys, the journal is for public display. You guys should go consume that. Where he would talk about how he would drill into the heads of the babies, or hurt the women and cut them up and cut their stomachs open, and they didn't need any type of pain medicine. They bared the pain of him trying to understand how to become what he was, what kind of doctor he became. He became famous off the back and the sweat and the pain of Black women. There are protests every year to get that statue removed in Central Park. The man's name is Marion Simmons. Google him. Marion Simmons. See, we live in this history, guys, that no one wants to talk about, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I was going to get to some news today, and I will. I'll do one. I'll do one and we'll be out. I didn't know this was going to take this long, but I'm passionate, guys. As you could probably see, I'm very passionate about our people because we hear a lot of people on the outside looking in saying that our culture ain't nothing. But we have small towns that were flooded. We had soldiers who went off and fought in wars and were found the next day they got off the bus when they came home, were found strung up in trees with their uniforms still on them and their feet cut off, their testicles being severed and stuffed into their mouths. See, we got to get graphic. A lot of people don't want to get graphic, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Can you imagine fighting for a country that makes you go to the back of a store to get your food, makes you drink out of the water fountain that's closest to the ground, like you're a dog, that makes your kids, you can go to school over here, but you can't go to school over here. We're going to make sure that you black people are not successful. We're going to burn down your churches. We're going to blow up the little girls in the churches. We're gonna set off this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna destroy you. You can't do this. You can't eat here. You can't do this. And then you get on a bus. You get on a plane. You go and get shot at for 5 or 6 months in a war that has nothing to do with you. And then when you come home, they find you 24 to 48 hours later, while your family has received a letter that you can imagine this, ladies. Imagine your man coming home from a war that he was forced into, and you know the day he's coming, and then he's not there, and you're thinking maybe he got caught up at the train station. Maybe he got caught up. Maybe he got caught up doing something else. Maybe he missed his ride. Maybe he had to stay in the war, not knowing that his body has went into rigor mortis because his body is starting to decay while he's swinging from the tree. Has anybody ever heard the song Strange Fruit by Nina Simone? The song delicately and very eloquently speaks about black people hanging from trees. If you've ever watched the movie of Nat Turner, Birth of a Nation, at the end of the movie, they give a clear understanding of what it was like to rebel against the oppressor. At the end of the movie, they spend about 3 minutes zooming in with the cameras on children and women and men swinging from trees. Nina Simone said that when they're swinging from the trees, they're called strange fruit. The song has been done by several artists, but the one that's more the one that really impacts me the most is the one done by Nina Simone, because Nina Simone really puts that voice in there. And she just Billie Holiday, yes, Billie Holiday did it, but guys, please go listen to the Nina Simone version. Oh my God. Strange fruit. Nina Simone almost also did a song talking about the different shades of and colors of the children that came through the master's house, and the reason that they were that way because the master would sexually assault the women, and the babies would come out in different shades and yellow skinned and red bone and different colors because of the master. But we have to pick ourselves up. Imagine, again, going back to the soldier, imagine, ladies, sitting at home with your children, and we're all sitting on the couch, and we're waiting on daddy, and we're waiting on husband. And then all of a sudden, someone, not the military, not the government, but someone comes to the door and knocks. Are you Miss Grant? Yes, I'm Miss Grant. We would like to inform you that we have your husband down at the hospital in the morgue. Why? What happened? Did he die in the war? No. He got off the bus yesterday, and a group of white men decided that he wasn't good enough, and they decided to delete him and hang him from a tree. And we found him 2 days ago swinging. Look up your history, guys. That has happened hundreds of times. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that we enjoy the things. We may not get to the news today. Imagine going through life knowing that everything about black people has been stolen. Imagine that. Imagine everything that you worked hard for has been stolen, has been taken from your culture of people. Imagine that. Imagine the music, the dance, the songs, the things that we do. Imagine that. The one of the biggest thieves in American history that has been popularized, that his estate makes $65 million a year, is the great Elvis Presley, right? Yeah. Elvis Presley, right? He's an amazing man, right? He's a man that loved black people. He did. You might as well love and hug him and buy your maid at your house a house and buy your maid the house a car. This is Black history, guys. Elvis Presley, one of the biggest thieves in America. Let's talk about Elvis for a second. That's gonna be the news for today. Elvis Presley, you ain't nothing but a hound dog, howling all the time. Did you know that Elvis Presley stole that? Huh? Did you know he stole it? The original lady that sung this, her name was Big Mama Thornton. Let me share this with you guys. I got 5 minutes. I want to share this with you. This is the original Hound Dog single was recorded by Big Mama Thornton. You want to know why? You don't want to know how Elvis got to this? You know how Elvis got to this song? They said Elvis, and they said this so eloquently. Elvis would sit at home and listen to the Chitlin circuit on the radio, black radio only. And he would have his writers reconstruct the songs, change a couple of the notes, and he made it his own. Elvis was not creative, as some people may have seen. He's creative. He's not. If you even heard a song called "My Babe," Elvis said so beautifully in the song, "My baby don't stand no cheating, my baby. Oh yes, you don't stand no cheating, my baby." You know, he had that bravado, right? But the real song was sung by Little Walter. Little Walter had a little bit more soul. Little Walter said, "My baby don't stand no cheating, let my baby. Oh yes, you don't stand no cheating, my baby." Little Walter had a little bit more soul, but Elvis took it and critiqued it and made it his own for rock and roll, and it went to bravado. "My baby don't stand no cheating, my baby. Oh yes, there's stand no cheating, my baby." Completely different. He just added bravado, but he stole it from Lil Walter. Lil Walter probably made $10,000 his whole career, and Elvis Presley has made millions off the backs of black people alone. You guys are going to birth something in me, because what I'm going to start doing for the rest of the month in Black history, I'm going to start for the rest of the month every day, starting tomorrow, including a little news. I'm going to start exposing those who have made money off of black people's backs, and then I want that to be the injection to the people, black and white, of those who said black people didn't never have their own. We're always begging the white man for something. No, everything that the white man has had has come from us. Everything. They stole from Chuck Berry. OG Patricia so right. They stole from Little Richard, Muddy Waters. They stole the music. And then we sit on here and we talk about Kales. I don't think we can I can say his name on YouTube, because he's so in jail right now. The artist from Chicago, Kales, the Pied Piper. We talk about him and everything that he went through. But do we talk about Elvis marrying his first wife when he was 27 and she was 13? But we still praise him. People still go visit his house every year, and his estate is making $65 million. And his ex-wife looks young. The woman looks like she's 40 years old. You know why? Because she was so young when she married him. She was 13 years old in 1965, 1968, in the 70s. She was a teenager in high school. Elvis used to take her to school. If you go read your history, because you got to read white history along with black history to make sure you know that the manipulation is real. Elvis used to go drop her off at high school. Have a good day, daughter, child, wife, or whatever I'm going to call you. And she would go to school. He'd pick her up from school. But do we talk about that? We're going back and looking at tweets from old artists, black artists. We're trying to destroy the figure of old artists and all that. We talk about how nasty R. Kelly is. We talk about how nasty all these other artists is. Well, wait. We got Woody Allen adopting an Asian little girl, and when she turned at 6 years old, when she turned 18, he married her. We're talking about Elvis Presley, an artist known around the world that a state makes millions of dollars a year still to this day. He's not disgraced for marrying a 13-year-old girl when he was damn near 30. Jerry Lewis, thank you so much, OG Patrice. Come on in the comments. Jerry Lewis married his own first cousin. But we need to start exposing. Oh my God, you guys just birthed something in me. I'm going into these labor pains of exposure. And so tomorrow, oh yes, we're going to start exposing those who have taken advantage of black people and taken from us and taken from us and taken from us and taken from us and taken from, just continue, just take and take and take. Can you imagine being a part of a culture just gets took and take and take? Jack Daniels liquor, the recipe was created by a black slave, and Jack Daniels family took the recipe and made Jack Daniels just take and take. The intermediate windshield wipers was made by a black man that worked for Ford as a janitor, but the white man took it and said, you know what, I made these windshield wipers. Just taken and taken and taken. First heart surgery taken. The light bulb was created by a black man because he came up with the wiring, because the white man didn't know what the hell he was doing. But just taking and just taking and just taking and just ripping and just taking the everything that was invented by us, every song that was sung by us, every dance that was created. Everybody talks about the dance. We created the dance. We created the music. They just take and take and take. Can you imagine being a part of something where everything you do is taken and the law supports it being stolen from you? How can you, as a black person, pull yourself up by the bootstraps? How can you have generational wealth when the generation was crippled and couldn't get the wealth? What about the 50,000 acres of land, of farmland? What would it be worth today to those children and the descendants of those people they flooded it out and drowned it out because they wanted to cover up their sins? They just take and just take and just take, but we got to keep taking it, and we got to come up with another way, and we got to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. We got to pull ourselves up by our own self. We got to pull ourselves up, but they just take and just take and just take. We invent this, they take it. We do the heart surgery, they take it. The first blood transfusion, they took it. And then they say black women, they stink, they smell. They talk about this. Jefferson, what's the ugly white man? Jefferson said, we talk about the white in his journal. You guys got to go read this for public consumption. Black women smell, they smell bad. But he had a black mistress living under the house of his house, and he would get her pregnant every year. And there are so many descendants of his but they just taking and just taking and just taking. Just taking. Today, that's right, Henrietta Lacks, just taking her DNA and still using it today to build these different medicines and different prescriptions, and her family's not getting nothing. Aunt Jemima, they just took until the family said, we, the descendants of Aunt Jemima, we want you to pay us for what you've done to her and what you've done to us. We're living poor and you're making billions. And the judge say, I ain't giving you nothing. But moving forward, if they continue to use a name, we will give it to you. And then soon after that, go to your local grocery store right now. You will see everything that had Aunt Jemima on it. You will look at it and it will say the Pearl Company, because they knew that they would start having to pay for something, the sins of their nature. The KFC recipe, you go get Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's not a white Colonel's recipe. Everybody know a white fat man with a mustache and glasses that sit on his ass and drink beer. They didn't come up with that recipe. He had slaves, and they came up with that salt and that seasoning and that flour to batter that chicken. And he took it and made it his own. Now his family has generational wealth. But what if Mr. Colonel Sanders was a man of honor, a man of pride, and he would have given that to her? What kind of generational wealth would those children have today? Come on. We don't deserve reparations. Black culture is trash. Black culture is trash. Hmm? Let's speed up today. Let's speed up today. Because see, I got a meeting to be at, but they're gonna have to hold on for a second. Let's speed up until today. Huh? We got Shikari Richardson, right? The fastest woman in the world, and just because her hair was a certain way, or just because she did things a certain way, they said, you know what? You can't be a part of anything. You can't be a part of nothing. We're going to take everything from you too. And they took it from Shikari Richardson. They took it from her. Right? They said you can't compete, you can't run, you're smoking weed. Hell, weed don't speed you up, weed slow you down. And she still became the fastest woman in the world. The fastest woman in the world. Now, this what's interesting right here is this. Now, watch this, guys. Let me, it's 24 of you in here, guys. I know this is good. So go ahead and hit subscribe button because I'm going over my break time to speak to you guys because I got to get back to work in a minute, but I gotta get this out. I gotta get this out. Shikari Richardson couldn't do it, but the Russian Olympian, look at this. I went to Fox News because Fox News always going to take up for their people. They're always going to support their own. So look at this. The Russian Olympic skater Kamila Vavlieva, whatever her name is, says positive drug test a result of grandfather's heart medication. And they believe her. And guess what they did, guys? They allowed her to compete anyway. But she's taking performance-enhancing drugs and blamed it on heart medicine. And now she was able to compete. And guess what? She won the gold and she won first because she had something that enhanced her, but they allowed her. But our sister is sitting at home depressed after her mother passes away, and she gets her little weed. And they say, no, we can't allow that in the Olympics. But this white girl right here, there she is. There she is. Let me give y'all the whole page here. There she is. She's allowed to compete and come in first after she enhanced her body with drugs. Y'all tell me. So, guys, I appreciate you guys. Listen, this has been Black Men. This has been Unfiltered News with your guy, Black Men Unfiltered. I love you guys, man. Please share this content. It's great content. Please share it. Please go and hit that like button. Right now it's 24. You guys should be 24 more likes. If you've already liked it, thank you so much. If you have not subscribed and you're just passing through today, I'm glad you passed through. I hope you can come back and stay with us as we continue to move forward. Thank you to the chat, everybody that's in the chat. Thank you, Von Bryant. Thank you, OG Patrice. Thank you, Impressive Vibes. Thank you, Stephen Day. Thank you, Jenny Moore. Thank you, Army of YHWH. Thank you, Les Is. Thank you, Mickey Red. Zoe. Everybody that came through today. I've already, Sherelle. Thank you. Thank you, everybody that came through today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You don't know how much it means to have you here. I've hit 600. Guys, this is the kind of content that needs 1,000. If just 23 of you guys, if all of you find 10 people to hit the subscribe button, we'd be at 1,000. We'd be monetized. I'd be able to grow this channel like I've never done it before. Now, without your help, with your help, I can do it. Without you, I cannot. I need your help. Thank you so much for being a part of Black Men Unfiltered with Unfiltered News today. I'm going to continue to bring it to you 5 days a week. And then at night tonight, it's Tuesday. So we have a panel tonight. We're going to talk it up tonight about the rearing of our children. And we'll talk a little bit about this to open the show, but we're going to talk about how we're raising our children. Are we raising them to become entitled? I appreciate you guys for being here. Tonight, 8:30 Central Standard Time. We will definitely be on tonight. If you want to send a donation of anything you want to send, you can definitely go to Black Man Unfiltered. Cash App is Black Man Unfiltered. And I would accept anything that you want to give. It'd just be good to know that I'm appreciated and look down and see somebody that said, man, this boy, I'm gonna send this boy 50 cents. But I thank you guys. I appreciate you guys, man. And stay with me. We're going to continue to learn together. We're going to continue to do what we need to do to learn more about our people and our history. Until tomorrow, guys. And remember, because I can't leave without saying it, Do something nice for someone today. Buy someone's coffee, buy someone's lunch, to give a family a bag of grocery. Do something nice for someone. Now, if you cannot do anything nice for someone, if you can't find anybody to do anything nice for, self-care is the best care. Do something nice for yourself. You've worked all week. You've worked hard. You've been a great mother. You've been a great father. You've been a great married couple. You've been a great Christian. You've been a great whatever it is that you've been great at. You've been great and you deserve it. Until next time, guys. Black Men Unfiltered's out. Peace.